back when they destroyed the level 68 boss and returned to Magical Academy. They were hailed as the best batch of students the Academy had seen in a long while. Even one of their instructors, named Rosie, knew that there was something different about these four students, as they seemed to blend with each other and work together with unmatched synergy. They all returned from the dungeons with bruises and cuts, but with wide smiles on their faces because they had just beaten the all-time record of reaching and crossing the level 68 dungeon. Not only did they beat the record, they utterly smashed it, since the last strongest party was only able to reach until the 32nd floor. Finally, the day of graduation came when Rosie released their scores. Rain was fourth in class, followed by Kra in third, then Yora as runner-up, and finally Alec, who was the best scoring student by far in recent history and the class valedictorian. They were all happy and full of hope back then, as they made fun of their instructor and even got beaten up for it. While they were leaving the academy together, the remaining students jealously watched what they thought was a conception of one of the best parties they would ever see, a party surely bound for legendary status. Unaware that Alec would soon decide he didn't want to pursue a career as an adventurer and instead wanted to become a court magician. His party members were stunned by this news, but they realized the job of court magician was comparatively easier with much better and stable pay. Even though they were disheartened, they never blamed Alec and wished him good luck for the future. Yora promised that someday they would be a team again. In the present, that promise seems to be fulfilled as Yora and Alec celebrate in a bar where, after only taking a single glass of booze, Yora is completely blackout drunk. She starts ranting about not being allowed into deeper dungeons yet, but soon ends up sleeping right there on the bench. Alec smiles at her, remembering how she was basically the same during their academy years. He puts his jacket on her, so she can sleep a little warmer, but one of the people inside the bar doesn't seem to like this. He walks up to Alec, mocking him for being a beta male. Alec ignores him since the man is a fan of Andrew Tater Tot, and obviously has anger issues. He raises his bottle to smash it on Alec's head, but Alec effortlessly uses a mana shield to block the attack and turns to face him. The man smiles, happy to finally get attention. He already knew Alec was a court magician, and claims he wouldn't expect someone as elite as him to be roaming around trying to become an adventurer. This sudden change in mood surprises Alec, but what surprises him more is when the big burly man takes out a card from his pocket. It turns out to be an adventurer's pass, and puts it down on the table. Alec is confused and asks what the hell he's doing, but the man simply replies that it's a token of apology for testing him with a bottle. He also adds condition that Alec must show his magic if he wants to pass. Alec is still confused when Yora the idiot wakes up groggy and calls the man the guildmaster, asking what he is doing here. Alec is at a loss for words, wondering why the guildmaster would give him a pass, but the man seems chill and hands it over before taking him to the training ground. He claims this is the underground training area where he tests parties who want to level up, and this is where Alec will show him his strength. Yora points out that it might not be the best time since Alec has been drinking, but Alec insists he still has enough mana to fight. The guildmaster formally introduces himself as Levy, and that immediately rings a bell in Alec's head. Levy is a very powerful mage who used to lead an S-rank party. Levy laughs, saying those are blurry memories now, and clarifies a simple requirement. Alec has to impress him with his magical skill. They prepare for the sparring session, and Alec opens with an offensive thunderbolt magic, which Levy expertly dodges and answers with water magic, tossing water balloons at him. Alec dodges and realizes Levy has the upper hand in range, so he decides to turn the fight into close quarters. To his surprise, instead of backing off, Levy slams the ground with his fists and uses reinforcement magic on himself to boost his speed. He dashes at Alec, sidesteps at the last moment, and starts revolving around him at incredible speed before trying to land a solid punch, which Alec barely blocks with his mana shield. The shield shatters in the force and Alec is blasted into the walls, but Levy is impressed by his durability, noting not many survive that punch. Alec walks out of the dust, calling Levy a true S-ranked adventurer. Levy expected Alec to be scared, but his nonchalant nature confuses him. Alec says he keeps forgetting he's no longer a court magician bound by rules and forced into defensive magic. Now unbound, he can let go and use his full arsenal. Levy laughs and tells him to come at him full force. Alec takes out his stiffwood again, transforming it into a magical blade. Levy prepares more water balloons, but this time Alec dodges the first and slashes the next. He feints offense to force Levy into a move, then lays a trap, explodes him with Thunderbolt, and slashes to the other side. Levy stands stunned, admitting Alec already overpowered his magic, but he's not done. He activates his trump card, bringing out magical gauntlets covered in dragon scales that boost his strength immensely. With that power, he rushes at Alec, who barely dodges. The punches create a crater, but Alec refuses to back down and casts lightning. Levy shakes it off and pushes through, trying to punch Alec, who blocks, but is shoved back. Levy reveals that the gauntlets heal him of injuries, so the longer the fight drags on, the worse Alec's chances. Levy pushes the attack and slashes at Alec, who tries to counter but finds every strike blocked as Levy taunts him to do better. Alec trash talks, tilting Levy, who tries a powerful punch. Alec dodges and finds an opening to attack, annoying the guildmaster further. Levy lashes out, but hits a wall as Alec nimbly evades beneath it. Unrelenting, Levy aims another strike, but Alec blocks an attempt at a winning blow. The guildmaster soaks the damage and prepares a double-handed smash that fills the air with dust. When the dust clears, Alec emerges unharmed and goes after Levy again, but this time his stiffwood goes limp when he runs out of mana and he collapses unconscious. Dora rushes in, using regeneration magic to heal him. Suddenly, Rain appears in the training ground, mocking Levy for being an S-ranked adventurer who used his strongest skill on a lower-ranked person. Levy retorts that he was merely testing Alec's limits, and that he would have passed. Rain picks Alec up and takes him to a room to rest, sitting on his legs for some odd reason. They talk about how long it's been since they've been together like this. When the receptionist bursts in saying she urgently needs a guildmaster, Levy grabs her face and drags her out of the room. Rain grabs Booze and asks Yora to tell him everything that happened with Alec. By the time she finishes, Rain is shaking with anger as he realizes the people in his party made him carry all their stuff, do their inventory, never let him use magic apart from defensive spells, and didn't even let him carry a dagger. He suddenly turns toward Yora and asks how Alec even used defensive magic, since that was his job at the academy, and he was never good at it. Yora replies that Alec learned it from scratch and worked at it until he became good. Now his defensive magic is almost as good as hers. Rain realizes that even after babysitting the crown prince, they still banished Alec as worthless. He shatters the bottle in his hands in anger, which wakes Alec. Surprised to see Rain, Alec is delighted when Yora exclaims that the guildmaster gave him the pass. Now they can all move toward higher-level dungeons as a party. But Rain says it can wait. First, they need to do something else. Alec has no idea what he means, but Rain explains they must take revenge. They plan to sneak into the royal city and palace to beat the prince and his party. Alec objects, and Yora says fighting other parties is strictly prohibited. Alec puts a hand on Rain's shoulder and says having a lot of fun on their adventure will be enough. He no longer cares about the court. Rain then declares their real plan: become the strongest party in the world. That would infuriate the prince, and if their country ever needed help, they could refuse aid to the palace and feel the power of saying no to their faces. Alec realizes this is the best compromise and agrees to become the strongest party in the world. Meanwhile, in another room, an injured S-ranked adventurer named Krista breathes hard while the receptionist bandages her. The guildmaster doesn't look amused. If an S-rank party is in trouble, the whole guild is. Krista tells Levy her party is stranded and needs all the help they can get. The guildmaster immediately convenes an emergency meeting, calling all A-rank adventurers and explaining they're going on a rescue mission to the 64th floor. Back in Alec's room, he meets Kra after a long time. Her two personalities seem to have developed nicely. She asks why he's not at the meeting. Alec replies he's not an A-ranked adventurer, so he stayed back. She casts a heal spell that completely heals Alec in an instant, which makes him wonder why they were using bandages on Krista, if heal magic exists. Yora and Rain enter the room, and Rain screams with excitement that they're going on a rescue mission. He briefs Alec on the situation. That particular dungeon floor is different. Magic cannot be used there, so they must depend on potions, and because the S-rank party was wiped out, they sent Krista alone to fetch help. Alec asks Craw if she's fine working in that dungeon since she specializes in healing magic. She replies hotly that she opposed it, but Rain overruled her and used his veto to enter. They bicker until Yora turns to Alec, saying it should be up to him whether they go into the dungeon since he'll have the main and hardest job facing the floor boss. Alec agrees to the mission, and soon they head toward the dungeon. Standing at the entrance, Rain proclaims this will be the start of the legend of their party.